Okay, so we are done with the theory of waveguide. Let me adjust the orientation first. Yeah, so we are done with the theory of waveguide. What I mean by theory is the conceptual understanding of waveguide. Right? So what we saw, we started with the parallel plane waveguide. So what we saw that TM0, TM1, TM2, etc. exist, right? And what we saw for TE modes, that TE0 does not exist, right? So the mode start from TE1, TE2, etc. exist, right? So this was for what? Parallel plane waveguide. Apart from this, we saw a very important case that TM0 mode is nothing but TEM mode in a parallel plane waveguide, TEM, right? Then the last waveguide we saw was rectangular. What we saw here, A was the broader dimension and B was the narrow dimension. This is the standard nomenclature, right? And this is the extent of the waveguide, and usually this direction of propagation of the wave is taken as Z, right? Then you can use right hand rule to get X and Y. So what we saw here, we saw, what we saw, yeah, so again we had TM and TE modes, and again what is TM mode? TM mode is transverse magnetic mode. So magnetic field is transverse to the direction of propagation, so there is no component of magnetic field in the direction of propagation. So what we see for TM mode, Hz equal to 0, Ez not equal to 0. So again I am telling you so that you don't by heart it. So understand the concept. So again for TE, electric field is transverse to the direction of propagation. So there is no component in the direction of propagation. So Ez equal to 0, Hz not equal to 0. Right? So then for rectangular waveguide, what we had? We had again TM modes and TE modes. So we said TM M0 and TM0N modes cannot exist. We saw why they don't exist. So if you are new to this video, you can just refer the previous videos. So they cannot exist. So consequently, what is the lowest order mode? It is TM11, right? Then we said about TE. So for TE, we said TE00 cannot exist. We said in the sense we have proved it, we have derived it, we have understood it conceptually. So TE00 cannot exist. So what is the lowest order mode? TE10 and TE01. So then we defined something called as dominant mode. So what is the dominant mode? This was the dominant mode. Why is it called as the dominant mode? Because the cutoff frequency for this is the lowest. And what is cutoff frequency? Electromagnetic wave will not be able to propagate through this waveguide if the frequency, operating frequency, is less than Fc, where Fc is cutoff frequency. So in this case, wave propagation will not take place, right? So your operating frequency should be greater or equal to this cutoff frequency, right? So what can you say about waveguide in terms of filter? It is a low pass filter or a high pass filter. What can you say? What is this telling? F is less than Fc means above a certain frequency range only it will pass the wave, means lowest frequency it will not pass. So it is what? A high pass filter sort of, right? So if this is the graph, this is my high pass filter. So waveguide is nothing but a high pass filter, right? So this is what we saw last time, and what we said, TEM mode does not exist in a rectangular waveguide. Again we saw it conceptually why it does not exist, because magnetic loops were forming if we assume TEM exists in a waveguide, and if magnetic loops are forming by converse of Ampere's law, there should be a current carrying conductor inside to carry the current, which is not the case because the waveguide is hollow. So TEM mode cannot exist, right? So let's proceed further. So before concluding, in the last lecture we saw two important expressions. What were they? Cutoff frequency. So remember, these are same for TE or TM modes. So 1 upon 2 pi square root of mu epsilon square root of m pi by a the whole square plus n pi by b the whole square. So some of the books might remove this pi, and from here also they will remove this pi. So if you solve this, you will get the same expression. So apart from this, we saw beta. So it was, what was it? Yeah, square root of omega square mu epsilon minus m pi by a the whole square minus n pi by b the whole square. Okay, if you want, you can write this in bracket and make this plus. So this is what we saw till last lecture, right? So one more derivation is asked usually. So derive expressions for cutoff frequency, which we have already derived last time. Apart from this, they ask phase velocity and guided wavelength. Okay, so what is phase velocity? Omega by beta, right? So phase velocity is given as what? Omega by beta, right? And what is beta? We have beta here, right? So let's start with beta. Okay, so I'll take a new page. So we have this beta, so I'll again write it in a new page. So beta is, let's start with omega Vp only. So Vp is what? Omega by beta, right? So omega upon beta is what? Square root of omega square mu epsilon. I'm taking that minus sign common, so minus of m pi by a the whole square plus n pi by b the whole square, right? So equal to, now if you see, you get a hint that if I take this omega square outside, omega will get cancelled, right? So I write omega upon, I take root mu epsilon also, so omega root mu epsilon into, what is it? Square root. This is square root, sorry. So omega root mu epsilon into 1 minus m pi by a the whole square plus n pi by b the whole square upon, since we have taken this outside, so to nullify the effect we have to divide, so upon omega square mu epsilon, right? So equal to, omega will get cancelled, so 1, I made a mistake, no, so 1 upon square root of mu epsilon into square root of 1 minus of m pi by a the whole square plus n pi by b the whole square bracket closed upon, omega is what? 2 pi f, so 4 pi square f square. Remember, I am writing f, not fc, so it is the operating frequency, mu epsilon, right? So if you observe this square term apart from f square is what? What is fc? So we have fc here. So if I square fc, what will I get? 1 upon 4 pi square mu epsilon. So 1 upon we already have, 4 pi square mu epsilon we have here, right? And square root will go away since we are taking square. So we have this term. So it is what? fc square by f square, right? So I'll write, therefore Vp equal to 1 upon square root of mu epsilon square root of 1 minus fc by f the whole square, right? So now you know, if medium is free space, instead of medium, to be precise, since we are talking about waveguide, I'll say dielectric. So I am saying dielectric because the inside a waveguide you will have a dielectric, so air is a dielectric, right? Or you can say medium also, not an issue, but precise word will be dielectric, right? So if dielectric is free space, square root of mu epsilon will be what? Square root of mu 0 epsilon 0. And what will be 1 upon square root of mu 0 epsilon 0? We have seen in basic electromagnetic course that it is nothing but speed of light. So therefore Vp equal to c upon square root of 1 minus fc by f the whole square. So this is my expression for phase velocity. So this is very important for numericals. Okay. So next, what was the next thing we have to do? So cutoff frequency is done, phase velocity is done, and then we have guide wavelength. So first question is, what do you mean by guide wavelength? So if you remember in the last lectures, we had said that the waveguide is a dispersive medium. Means what? The phase velocity is dependent on frequency, right? So it is omega by beta. Here also we are getting, it is depending on the operating frequency. So if the frequency changes, velocity of the electromagnetic wave traveling inside the waveguide changes, right? So means what? Waveguide, this is called as dispersive medium. So means waveguide is a dispersive structure, right? And again we said, remember that air is non-dispersive because air travels at the speed, anything in air travels at the speed of light. But when you are enclosing air inside a waveguide, what is happening? Velocity is changing according to frequency. So waveguide is a dispersive structure, right? So because of that, what happens? Your wavelength is also dependent on frequency, right? So that's why the wavelength changes. So that's why it is called as guide wavelength. So guide is taken from that waveguide. Okay. So it is denoted by lambda g, right? So what we can write? Vp is what? F into lambda we know. So lambda is nothing but lambda g into operating frequency f, right? And what we know Vp, we have just proved it that it is this. So therefore c upon square root of 1 minus fc by f the whole square equal to lambda g into f, right? So therefore what will be lambda g? C by f square root of 1 minus fc by f the whole square, right? Now what is c by f? It is our lambda is what? C by f. So this is our free space wavelength, I can say. So therefore lambda g equal to lambda naught. So lambda naught indicates free space wavelength upon square root of 1 minus fc by f the whole square. So this is what my guide wavelength expression. What will be the unit? Meter. What will be the unit for phase velocity? Obviously meters per second, right? So this is my guide wavelength. So next, finally we have group velocity. So I'll just write here. So group velocity Vg. So you can write Vp into Vg is c square. This is a standard expression. So what will be Vp? Vp we already know. So c upon root 1 minus fc by f the whole square into Vg equal to c square, right? So therefore c will get cancelled. So what will get? Vg is c into square root of 1 minus fc by f the whole square, right? So there is one intriguing case here. If you just observe this equation, what is Vp? It is c upon root 1 minus fc by f the whole square, right? And we just saw that f is less than fc, means what? Fc is greater than f, right? Sorry, I made a mistake. Is it? Operating frequency should be greater than fc. I made a mistake, right? See, cutoff frequency, obviously what is cutoff frequency? Any frequency less than, so while explaining I explained it correctly, right? But what I mean now is the operating frequency f means the frequency at which the electromagnetic wave is propagating. If it is less than fc, there will be no propagation inside the waveguide. That's what I was explaining here. So it is right. But if I want the electromagnetic wave to propagate inside the waveguide, obviously frequency should be greater than the cutoff frequency. Means what? F should be greater than fc, right? So if f is greater than fc, so fc by f is less than 1. So this is less than 1, right? So this part, whole part will be less than 1 obviously. So if this is less than 1, what I am getting, I will obviously get Vp greater than C. Means what? The velocity, phase velocity is traveling greater than speed of light. That is what we have proved here, right? But now you might say, how can anything travel greater than speed of light, right? So if you have observed in the previous lectures, I talked about group velocity. So I said the actual information travels at the speed of light. So here in phase velocity it was divided. In group velocity it is multiplied. So here it is what? Less than the speed of light. So actual information will travel less than speed of light only, right? So this is just the phase of the wave traveling. So you can just refer very beautiful videos on YouTube. Just write phase velocity and group velocity animation. So from that you will come to know the concept. So I can show here the animation, so you can just refer those videos. If you want, I can post in classroom. Okay. So this is what about the expressions. So let's do some numericals based on this. Okay. So before this, I'll take this one because we have just solved the derivations, done the derivations. So this numerical, what it says, an air field. So it is given air field means what? Epsilon r is 1, mu r is 1, means dielectric is air, right? Rectangular waveguide has dimensions a equal to 6 centimeter and b equal to 4 centimeter, right? So this is given to us. The signal frequency means f, remember, is 3 gigahertz. Compute the following for TE10 and TM11 modes, right? So cutoff frequency, wavelength in waveguide, phase velocity, group velocity, right? So what is the expression for cutoff frequency? As I said, you don't have to remember different expressions for TE and TM modes. Sorry. So the expressions for TE and TM modes are same. So what is FC? It is 1 upon 2 pi square root of mu epsilon m pi by a the whole square plus n pi by b the whole square. As I said, some textbooks will remove this pi term, so it is one and the same. This pi square is in square root, so if you take common it will be pi, so that will get cancelled with this. So now since the dielectric is there, I can say 1 upon root mu epsilon is what? 1 upon root mu 0 epsilon 0. So some textbooks will directly find this expression, c by 2. If I remove the pi, if you want to see that, it will be m by a the whole square plus n by b the whole square. This is when it is dielectric is there, right? So c is what? 3 into 10 raised to 8. So what we can say, so for TE10, m is what? 1, n is 0. Similarly for TM11 we can say m is 1, n is 1, right? So we'll find the corresponding cutoff frequency. So calcium. So just substitute here. So c is what? 3 into 10 raised to 8. So 3 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 2 square root of m. M is what? 1 and n is 0. So 1 by a square. So 1 square is 1 upon a square. A is what? A is 6 centimeter, right? So 6 into 10 raised to minus 2, but it is squared. So this is square. Right? Am I correct? Yes. So what is the answer? 2.5 gigahertz. So 2.5 gigahertz. So can you tell me whether this frequency will propagate inside the waveguide, or whether TE10 mode will propagate inside the waveguide? The operating frequency is 3 gigahertz, right? And the cutoff frequency is 2.5 gigahertz. So operating frequency is greater than the cutoff frequency, right? So threshold se zyada hai, right? So the TE10 mode, which is the dominant mode, will propagate inside the waveguide. Again, what is dominant mode? The frequency which is the lowest and which propagates inside the waveguide, right? That is the dominant mode frequency, right? And that is called as dominant mode. So why is it very important? Why you always talk about dominant mode? Because for a rectangular waveguide, only this mode will propagate without any interference from other modes. So there will not be any noise or distortion from other modes here. So that is why it is very important, right? There will not be any interference from other modes. So again, we can use the same expression. So now m is 1 and n is 1. So 1 by a is small, same, plus n is 1. So 1 square is 1 upon, again will require a square, and it is 4 centimeter. So 4 into 10 is minus 2, right? So what is it? 4.5069. So I have told you how to approximate things, so it will be 4.51 gigahertz. So this mode will also propagate inside the waveguide, right? So practically what will happen if your operating frequency is, let's say, not 3 gigahertz, if it is 5 gigahertz, what will happen? T10 mode will also propagate. T10 mode will also propagate, right? And TM11 mode will also propagate, because this frequency is greater than 2.5 as well as greater than 4.5. So for TM11 cutoff frequency is 4.51 gigahertz. So greater than 5, sorry, so 5 is greater than 4.51. So this will propagate. So 5 is again greater than 2.5 corresponding to T10. So again this will propagate. So both modes will propagate inside the waveguide, right? So if you are having this sort of waveguide, rectangular waveguide, both the modes will propagate. Means some power might go in this and some power might go in this, but most of the power will go inside this mode and less power will be going inside this mode. Why? Because this is the dominant mode again. So next what we have to do? Wavelength in the waveguide, means there was guide wavelength, right? So what is the formula for guide wavelength? So we have seen it, lambda g is lambda naught upon square root of 1 minus fc by f the whole square. See, fc by f, if you want to write in terms of lambda, what will it be? Lambda naught by lambda c the whole square, because lambda is what? V by f. So f is v by lambda, right? So it is inverse. So fc by f, so lambda by lambda c, right? So therefore lambda g equal to, for T10 I am doing, TM11 you can take as homework. So for T10, what is FC? Will require FC. FC is 2.5 gigahertz. And what is lambda naught c by f? So 3 into 10 raised to 8. Why am I substituting? You are not in 10th standard. Alright, so lambda naught is c by f upon square root of 1 minus fc by f the whole square. Right? So c is what? 3 into 10 raised to 8. What is the operating frequency? F3. So 3 into 10 raised to 9. This divided by square root of 1 minus fc. fc is what? 2.5 square upon f. F is what? 3 square. See, 10 raised to 9, 10 raised to 9 will get cancelled. That's why I have not used it. So what is lambda g? 0.181. So therefore lambda g equal to 0.181 meters. Right? So next, phase velocity. What is phase velocity expression? Vp equal to, so again for TM11 mode you can do it. So Vp is, what is Vp? We have it here. Yeah. C upon square root of 1 minus fc by f the whole square. So therefore Vp equal to, so again 3 into 10 raised to 8. I am doing for T10 mode only. upon square root of 1 minus again fc by f 2.5 square by 3 square. So how much is it? 0.542 gigahertz. I am writing in gigahertz because everything they have given is in gigahertz. Sorry, I have made some mistake. This is not frequency, right? I have made a blunder. So VP, don't mess with your units. So 542.72 mega meters per second, right? Or into 10 raised to 6 meters per second. So you can see it is what 5.42 into 10 raised to 8, right? So it is greater than the speed of light as I explained before, right? And what you have to do? Group velocity. So group velocity is what? Same expression multiplied by 1 minus square root of fc by f the whole square. So what will be group velocity? Right? So it should come less than this value, right? So let's see that. So this expression we have here, this into 3 into 10 raised to 8, right? So what we have done, there is some problem. I made a mistake. Yeah, this into 3 into 10 raised to 8. Am I using the correct expression? Yes. Yeah, what mistake I was making, the expression was wrong. Right, so 3 into 10 raised to 8 into square root of 1 minus 2.5 square by 3 square. So we'll get less than speed of light. So it is 1.65 into 10 raised to 8, 658 meters per second. Instead of mega, you write this as 5.42 into 10 raised to 8. Because speed of light is 3 into 10 raised to 8, right? So it is better to have 10 raised to 8 term. Right? So this is group velocity. Next. Yeah, we are done. Okay. So then last sum for today. Consider a length of Teflon filled copper rectangular waveguide having dimensions A equal to 1.07 centimeter and B equal to 0.43 centimeter. Find the cutoff frequency of first 5 propagating modes. So this is quite a conceptual sum. Okay. So first thing, Teflon is given. So it is a dielectric if you don't know. So if this is not given in the exam, you can assume it. Again, wait for 2 hours. If no correction from university, you can assume it any value you want. So for Teflon, epsilon r, it should be given in the exam. Epsilon r is 2.08 and tan delta. What is tan delta? If you remember, it is loss tangent. We again saw this in electromagnetics course, right? So what we have to find? Find the cutoff frequency of first 5 propagating modes for a rectangular waveguide. So what we know? It is a rectangular waveguide. So dominant mode is what? TE10, right? And which is the next propagating mode after TE10? We saw in the last lectures that it should be TE01. Why? We had 3 cases, right? For the lowest order modes. What were those? To decide for the dominant mode, we had these 3 cases. So these are the 3 lowest order modes. So obviously among the first 5, these 3 are there. Next 2 we have to find out. So let's see how to find them out. Okay. So first we write the expression for FC. So what is it? Again, as we saw in the previous sum, 1 upon 2 pi square root of mu epsilon square root of m pi by a the whole square plus n pi by b the whole square, right? So then you can make a table. So you write mode, index m, index n, and the value of fc, and you will get in gigahertz usually. If this is in centimeters, you will usually get the frequency in gigahertz. Okay. So we know dominant mode is 10, so it should be 10 TE. Then we know it should be 0, 1. Okay. Otherwise, what you can do, you can make a procedure. First, we know dominant mode is TE10, so let's first do that. So I'll tell you how to proceed further. So 1 upon 2 pi, what is square root of mu epsilon? We know 1 upon square root of, so now it is epsilon r is also there, right? So 1 upon square root of mu 0, epsilon 0, mu r, epsilon r. Mu r is 1. So epsilon r is given. So 1 upon square root of mu 0, epsilon 0 is what? C, which is speed of light. So you can use that. So 3 into 10 raised to 8. Sorry. 8 into, nothing into, upon root mu r is remaining, right? So root mu epsilon r, sorry, 2.08, right, into square root of m pi by a the whole square. So m is 1. So 1 into pi upon a. A is what? 1.07, right? Into 10 raised to minus 2 because it is in centimeter. Plus, this is 0, but then 2 I am writing because further we will require this expression. So I can just substitute 1 and m and n. So this is 0 into pi upon what is b, 0.43 into 10 raised to minus 2. So what is the frequency we are getting? 9.72 gigahertz. So this is what gigahertz. So I am not writing gigahertz here. Okay. So this is the dominant mode frequency, right? So next, I forgot. Find the cutoff frequency of first 5 propagating modes if operating frequency is 15 gigahertz. If this is not given, you can just try and find some modes anyways. Okay. So this is for what? 9.72, right? So 9.72 is less than 15. So you can take 20 also. So 10 is giving 9.72. So it is less than 15, right? And this is the cutoff frequency. But operating frequency is 15 gigahertz. So 15 gigahertz will obviously propagate. So 20 can also propagate probably. So if 20 comes greater than 15, we will not take TE M0 series. Okay. So again 20, right? So again this is 0. So now you understood why I am taking all the indices. So this is 2. So we get 19.44. So for 20 we get 19.44 gigahertz. So this is greater than 15, right? Our operating frequency is 15 gigahertz. So this is greater than that. So this mode is not going to propagate because operating frequency is what? 15 gigahertz. Cutoff for TE10 is 19.44. So this will not propagate. So we'll stop here. So next lower order mode is what? TE01. So TE01, right? If you want, you can type the expression again. But the more you type on Kelsey, the more probability of making mistakes. That is the reason I am using the same expression. I made sure that my expression was correct. And now this is 0 and this is 1. This is 1. So this is how much? 24.19. So 24.19. So T01 is also not propagating. So T02 no need to calculate. Right? Then what we have? TE11. But TE and TM11 same expression. So you can write TE comma TM. 1 1. Right? So both are 1 now. So this is 1 and the 1 was already there. So this is how much? 26. So this is also not propagating. So 26.07, right? So proceed further. So TE Tm. Now we go to 2-1. Right? See, now you don't have any option. So 4 modes are there. So you cannot have other options, right? So we go to the next index only. Anyways, even if it is not propagating. So we know it should be greater than 26 only now. But since they have asked 5 modes, we are doing it. But this we know this T21 and TM21 modes are not will not propagate inside the waveguide. So it is 31.03. So we are done with 5 modes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 5 modes will propagate inside the waveguide.